Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I have got you again, and it's embarrassing that you keep falling for this. I'm not Chat Show, I'm Samm Levine. Kevin is on assignment in New York, and I guess he's back at work on The Jew Show. That's how literally somebody tweeted at me a couple weeks ago. I miss Kevin on the podcast. He's too busy working on The Jew Show, I guess. I will not tell you the person who tweeted that to me because I don't like to make mean people famous. But also I don't remember, and I'm not going to look it up. Otherwise, I actually would call him out by name, and then you can tweet at him, "Hey, that's not what it's called. It's called the Emmy Award-winning Marvelous Mrs. Maisel." And I wish Kevin the best of luck, and we miss you. But here's the good news. I'm not sitting in the booth by myself. I am here with a man I can only describe as the ultimate podcaster. Some people call him the granddaddy of podcasting, but I say no, he's just not that old. He's young and spry. So please help me welcome Mr. Jimmy Pardo.
Hello, Sam.
That's a lot of, many people applauding.
That's one more than should be.
Ah, you're too kind. Hey, buddy, I'm so glad you're here. Honest to God. Are we having headphone issues?
There's a buzz in that one.
We can't have that.
There was a buzz in that.
And is this better?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to be comfortable.
Yeah, I'm nuts. Go ahead. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
No. This is truly my pleasure. When I found out that you were kind enough to lend me your time to come sit today, I exhaled a sigh of relief because normally I pride myself on doing exhaustive research. And
you felt you don't need to with me here?
I felt like I know enough.
Do you?
About sweet Jimmy James Pardo.
Now listen, I'm here. Let me explain why I'm here.
Why are you here?
I had to record my own podcast earlier, not on these premises. I have my own studio.
I know
You're
well
aware of that.
Yeah.
The Never Not Funny Studios. Mm-hmm. And then I have a show tonight out in Pasadena.
Oof.
And I didn't want to drive all the way home. So when I got the call, hey, do you want to do this time in Hollywood? What perfect timing. Otherwise, never.
No. Otherwise, you'd just be at that Arbys across the street.
By the way, when I drove past that Arbys, I thought, do I have time?
Oh.
I don't dislike Arbys. No, I am not against Arbys.
No, they get a bad rap, but quite frankly, it's a good sandwich.
I enjoy their, they got the steak thing, the 3-cheese steak, whatever it's called, that I enjoy. I don't mind the regular.
No, the roast beef.
Yes, sir.
I say their roast beef holds up. It really does.
Some would say it's processed and awful, but if it is, I don't care.
No, I know how
Put some of that Arby's sauce on there and shut your mouth.
Yeah, I know how the sausage is made, and I enjoy the sausage.
I also enjoy their chicken cordon bleu. I'm not against Arbys.
No, nor am I.
Yeah.
Please hold on one second for our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Arbys.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Arbys. Put that sauce on everything. I'm very glad that your scheduling worked out then, that you had some time to kill, and that you chose to kill it with me.
I was also very flattered. I said, there's nobody in the world I like more than Kevin Pollak. And they went, bad news.
Yep. Come again.
Going to be Samm Levine. You know what? I know, Sam. We'll get through it.
We will get through it, and get through it we shall. Ooh, I didn't even keep an eye on the clock, because your time is precious to me. And
I don't know if it is.
I don't want to keep you
I'm good.
A minute longer. Now, I think of you as, and forgive me if this is the wrong moniker you want, I think of you as the premier name humorist in America.
I think, what? I don't even know what that means.
When you are doing your stand-up comedies.
Yes.
I have never seen a comedian quicker to a joke when it comes to people's names.
Yeah, boy. Okay, I'll.
Is that fair to say?
I guess I'm the premier
name humorist.
I do enjoy. I've got my go-to is proper spelling on that. With 2 T's.
Yes, you do.
You bookend that with B's. I do have a joke.
You do. For years, yes. I would say I do impressions. And to my comedian friends, I would say, would you like to hear my Jimmy Pardo?
I'd like to hear it.
And it went something like this. Stephen, good to meet you. Now let me see what we're dealing with. Is that a V or a PH?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now I'd like to hear the impression.
There it is.
And the V and PH, because the PH confuses me, because when I read that, it looks like Stephanie, and I don't really understand what's happening in the story. Mm-hmm. That's what happens there.
That's what happens there. So you need that clarity.
That's the follow-up to the Steve piece. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's it. From here on out, Jimmy Pardo, premier name humorist.
Yeah, I'm the Will Rogers of name humor. Thank you. Very proud.
As you should be. As you should be.
I'll take it. I'll take any positive energy moniker you'll give me.
Good. Well, there's more, but I'll save them.
Do you think I almost just said monocle and luckily saved it at the end?
I wish you had.
Because the answer is yes.
We can edit this show, but I refuse to. So if you say something wrong, just live with it. Because, we used to do this show live.
I remember.
We used to do it on camera and live streamed. So if something terrible happened, I think in the history of the show, there were only 2 times that guests, either on their own or by the urging of their people, were asked to have the archived version edited.
Yes.
I will not tell you the names of those guests.
Don't you think more often than not, and obviously you know your stories, but in the Never Not Funny world, 9 out of 10 times it's the people, the publicist, that will then come back and go, hey, that story that they're cool with it, but most times while that person's telling the story, I was like, there's no way they're going to want this to go out in public.
Right.
There's no way. So when they get an email, hey, any chance? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I can't believe it took this long for you to email me.
Yeah. And are they emailing you after the show has posted? Or
No.
They were maybe in the booth with you?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
This, and that I get, because at least they realize, it hasn't gone out yet, I've got a chance.
Right.
I was fascinated by the 2 people who asked, knowing it streamed live.
But it's streamed live, and that's gone. But I understand the archive, like, hey, if you caught it, you caught it. But for those that now are going to go back to listen to I'll use my own name, a Jimmy Pardo episode, maybe I don't want that story out there. If you caught it at the time, great.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess for me, I always think of in this internet age, the internet is permanent. Whatever goes out there is always permanent. It will always be on record somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm a little more surprised at our fans for not somehow recording our live streams and ensuring that nothing can be cut.
Well, I think you should talk to them yourself.
I will.
I had no idea in that sentence.
This was me. This is me having a word with them through you.
Passive aggressively talking to your fans.
Letting our fans know that you guys are slacking. And this is the episode.
But they know you're recording it for them. They don't. They don't need to do that. That's the beauty of the podcast.
I guess maybe it somehow eases my mind to think that if and I've never deleted a tweet, but if I wrote a tweet and felt like maybe I shouldn't have said that and had to delete it right away, maybe somehow.
You've never deleted a tweet?
I think maybe I've deleted it once or twice, only because of a spelling error wherein I immediately corrected the.
Is there anything worse than tweeting out something and then maybe you get 100 likes, then you go, oh, I misspelled that, and then you kind of want to delete it to replace. So you don't want to look like an idiot that does you not know how train is spelled?
Right. That's a bummer. It happened to me a few years ago. I meant to write singing and I wrote signing.
Oh, that's a rough one too.
But it was okay because then I corrected it by saying we're going to be singing a song, and I said no, I know what I wrote. I was doing it in American Sign Language.
Oh, that's fine
for the hearing impaired in the crowd.
I see.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just fascinated. I love the notion of doing things live like they were in the old times. Like how
you have the love, not unlike myself, you have a love of the old school Hollywood.
Yes, I do.
I know you do.
I do. And Jimmy Kimmel Live got that title for a reason.
Yes.
It used to be broadcast live to the East Coast.
So what did that last? A month at the most?
Actually, I believe they did it live for well over a year.
Is that true?
It is true. I watched almost every episode of that show in its first year or so.
We just had Jeff Babko. He sat in on the Never Not Funny. Jeff Babko is the keyboard player for Jimmy Kimmel's band. Oh. And he's a fan of Never Not Funny. And he's like, I would just love to come by the studio one time. And
that's great.
So we had him come by. And, of course, if you my show, if you stop by, you somehow become a guest. Because I got to talk to every human being, so I don't hear my own voice. And I want to say he was shorter than that, but I will take your word for it.
Okay. I don't know. In my brain, I felt like it lasted about a year at that. I suppose we could look it up, but you know what? I'm not going to.
No.
We're not going to sit here in silence while I look it up.
But you know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to tweet at both of us. Guys, it was 9 months. It's like, okay, but I'll tell you now, you don't have to tweet us. We'll look it up when we're done.
Just tweet at me.
Oh, yeah,
you don't have to at Jimmy in this.
No, but you can follow me if you like.
Oh, but where? How can they follow you?
Oh, thank you for asking, Sam.
Yeah.
At Jimmy Pardo.
That seems fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
If my memory serves, many years ago, you were very anti having a social media presence.
I was very anti-Twitter. Yeah. And I've since I joined I finally got on, I think, in 2014, which was too late.
Much too late to the game.
I had to play catch up. Yep. I don't have the following that the other people at my level have. Mm-hmm. I also got in right as it turned from comics and people being funny to nothing but our president's an a-hole.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm as guilty as anybody of doing that.
Yeah.
So, and I follow mostly now. I still follow comedians and so on and so forth. But it seems to be that the pundits are the ones that are coming into my feed more often than not.
Yeah, I've cultivated my feed over the years. My favorite button is the mute button.
Yes,
because then they do not know that you have muted them. Mm-hmm. So you can still DM if you have to,
right?
But then I don't have to hear the nonsense. Or I don't have to read it.
I hear you, and I'm now going to have to look to see if I muted you because I think there's a chance.
I would bet you certainly.
Well, after that signing singing thing, I can't risk.
No, I don't blame you. You're right to hold my feet to the fire on that.
I'm going to look it up right now. By the way, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If I muted you, I will tell you.
I can't wait to find out the end of this.
Is that fun for anybody?
It's going to be fun for me.
Let's find out.
Let's find out together.
It's also going to be uncomfortable if all of a sudden you get a notice. Jimmy Pardo has followed you.
Yeah,
like it just happened.
Well, I never look to see who's followed me. That is something I've been so lax with my social media-ing the last several months, and I try really hard not to have too many posts in a row that are just promotion.
Listen, it's uncomfortable. I do not follow you.
Oh, boy.
And I'm going to do it right now. I've changed that. It also recommends I follow Chris Pratt, so you're in good company.
Wow. That seems, I don't know what Jack and Twitter are doing there.
I'm very confused that I wasn't following. Anyway, nobody wants to hear you and I talk about Twitter. But I will tell you this. I agree with you. I think you've got to, contrary to my dull conversation with you right now, and I blame myself 100%, of course, I think you've got to if you're nothing but promotion, nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
So you got to go maybe a promotion joke or two.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Joke or two.
I'm trying to sprinkle in more jokes.
Yeah.
But it's just so devastating to be a person right now that it's hard to crack jokes. But I actually tweeted something a few weeks ago, and this is always the way it is. You'll spend 2 hours crafting the perfect tweet in your head. You know the base premise of what you want to tweet, and you'll write it, and then you'll edit and edit and edit, and finally when you think it's ready and perfect, you'll tweet it, and it gets 28 likes.
Gets 28.
And then you're like, this is fine.
And then you'll just go F Trump.
Right.
8,000 likes.
And
by the way, that's low to other people. I understand that.
And so I was on the couch with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and I was just scrolling Twitter, and I read for the millionth time someone misuse the spelling of the word premiere with an E on the end versus no E on the end. They mean two completely different things. A premiere is like a head of state, and with no E is a head of state.
And a premiere
with an E is the red carpet for the first showing of a movie.
Okay. And you got mad on...
I got mad at that for the millionth time. And so I just fired off a couple of quick, hey, Uncle Grammar Pants here, just a couple of quick reminders. And then I threw out like 4 examples things that people keep screwing up all the time. Shoe-in is SHOOIN.
Yeah, it's not a shoe.
Right. A lot of people.
You're shoeing.
Right. And so I corrected that one because I keep seeing otherwise smart people writing things and going,
are you sure that one's not interchangeable though?
That is not interchangeable.
You're sure?
With shoe-in?
You're certain.
I mean, here's that will lend itself to something else in a second. But anyway, the point is I just fired a few of those off and I tweeted that. And within a day, it became my most popular tweet of all time, generating over 10,000 likes and 4,000 retweets or something crazy.
That is a lot.
It is a lot for me. And so I thought how goofy that the thing I put very little thought into. But to answer that question, is it incorrect? It is incorrect in the sense of what the words mean and how they have always been intended to be used. And that brings me to my favorite sad word in the English language, factoid.
You don't like the word factoid?
Well, let me ask you, and this is not a trick question, what do you think the word factoid means?
You know what? Here's what, and I've always seen it as a very Us Weekly, Entertainment Weekly buzzword for it's an interesting little
here's a tidbit.
It's a tidbit.
It's what it was what pop-up video was, full of factoids.
Here's a cute little factoid for you.
Yes, and that is how people use the word.
And you're about to tell me
that is not what the word originally meant.
Okay.
The word factoid originally meant an incorrect piece of information.
Oh my goodness.
Widely considered to be correct because of its many wrong appearances in print.
So we are literally using the word
factoid has become
a factoid. Yeah,
that is correct. And so that is what happens to words over time. So shoe in the wrong way, SHOE, shoe in may eventually become a factoid type situation. That's why the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, is my favorite because it when they add a new definition to a word, unlike other dictionaries, like say your Merriam-Webster, they will score the definitions based on usage, popular usage. That'll be number 1, number 2 down the road. The Oxford English Dictionary does it chronologically.
I see. What
the word used to mean versus what it now means. And so that's why my heart broke last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, when they added for definitions of the word literally, like the 11th usage is now figuratively.
No.
Because
everybody goes, I literally fell off my chair.
I literally fell off my chair laughing.
Yeah.
Whatever
I did.
Right. I literally squirted milk out my nose when maybe you did, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You meant I figuratively.
Yeah, but nobody would say that.
Nobody says that because it's the words are lost on the next generation and they are ruining the Oxford English Dictionary for all of us. So I won't have any of this shoe-in talk.
All right.
We're nipping it in the bud right here.
I'm not fighting you.
Now look, you've
done research. Go on.
I do have a tiny little bit of research.
Do you really?
I do. It's just a few.
Hi, Jordan.
We have Jordan in the booth.
Yeah.
Who, I don't want to say anything against the other wonderful techs they have here at Earwolf, but Jordan's kind of the best. If you get Jordan, it's going to be a good day.
I've never met Jordan till today, and I 100% agree.
Thank you.
Jordan, what do we say about not talking? No, I
just set her up
to. That's a bit. It's a comedy bit. Jordan, you can talk all you want. Break in anytime. Did we get the official time on how long Jimmy Kimmel Live was live?
A year.
Was it 1 year? Literally a year?
Do you want me to double check?
Yeah. Because I want, like, if it was like the first episode was broadcast, the first episode, I want to say, followed the Super Bowl. I want to say it was like end of January, beginning of February. They shut down Hollywood Boulevard.
You think the first live one was on a Sunday night?
I think it was, and I think his guest was George Clooney.
Wow.
Let me do some research. Hold on.
Okay.
Thank you, Jordan.
I don't know.
Jordan!
It sounds right, but it might be wrong.
Well, you have a brain for this.
I don't know. I'm more confident when it comes to music and movies. You like music and movies?
Yeah, I do, Sam. Those are the two big M's. Yeah. You sicken me on how good a shape you're in.
No, you're very sweet to say that. I'm legitimately in some of the worst shape of my adult life.
Well, I wish I was in your bad shape.
And you and I have similar frames too.
No,
so.
I mean, well, I think
Builds?
I think I got a bigger build than you.
All right.
I think you lean towards the skinny and compact, and my tiny frame is more wide and
what do you know?
Blubbery.
This is why it's these conversations that make me sad that we are audio only now.
Well,
so that the fans can't see what a liar you are.
Well, I'm filth, but if you remember correctly, you appeared on a TV show called At Midnight. No, my apologies. I saw you at a party wearing a sweater that I've never seen a sweater.
You brought this up.
I've never seen a sweater fit better on a human being in my life. And because of what you just said, we have similar frames.
Yes.
I went, well, damn it. I'm going to buy that exact same sweater.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work on me at all, brother.
Nonsense. You are nonsense. But reason you said at midnight is because you wore it on at midnight. And what did I do?
You texted me immediately and said, nice sweater.
Nice sweater. It looks great on you.
But I don't, it doesn't. It looks great on you.
No.
And it looks like I'm wearing an ill-fitting sweater.
Now, let me ask you. I remember that sweater. It was a Banana Republic sweater.
Yes.
And you asked me about it, and I said, this is a Banana Republic. It's small. You asked, this is a small medium. I said, it's small because their sizes tend to run a little bit bigger.
Right.
Did you go with a medium?
I think I went with the small. I think I ended up buying both sizes. And then I think I kept the small.
Okay.
There's something about it, how it just doesn't. You have a body where it drapes nicely. It looks great. Mine gathers around the ass. It doesn't look good.
Do you know what I think the problem was? You zipped it up. If
yours was zipped up too when I saw it on you. Sam, I'm not lying. I tried to wear it exactly like you.
Then I don't know what to say. I thought it looked great on you.
You're nice.
And I feel like anytime I could share clothes, especially clothing tips with another man.
I've never loved a sweater more than it looks horrible on me.
Oh,
you know what I also did once? This is a true story. Do you know Mike Siegel, comedian Mike Siegel?
I do.
Mike is a very handsome, funny man.
Yes.
Well, Mike Siegel got new headshots once where he was wearing a blue dress shirt. And when it was time for me to get new headshots, I was like, you know what I'm going to wear? A blue dress shirt, just like Mike Siegel. Well, that doesn't change how your face looks, you idiot.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I thought I would have the magic of a Mike Siegel in that headshot. I did not.
Why are you so hard on yourself?
Well, look at me.
What does that mean? You're a vision of success.
Oh, you're okay.
Come on,
Thank
Jimmy
you.
James Pardo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this self-deprecating thing is. I'm not unsuccessful. I'm fine.
You're not. You do great. And you know what else? You've got a new podcast, newish podcast. In addition to your Never Not Funny podcast, you've got a podcast called Playing Games with Jimmy Pardo.
Playing Games with Jimmy Pardo is about a year old.
It's new in terms of
your knowledge of it,
my knowledge of it, and in terms of how long the Never Not Funny podcast has been around.
Never Not Funny is almost 13 years now.
Did it celebrate its bar mitzvah? Its pod mitzvah?
Yeah, we stomped on a glass. What do you do? That's a wedding.
Close enough.
Which, by the way, a little secret for you people out there: use a light bulb.
Ooh!
Instead of breaking a glass at the Jewish wedding, use a light bulb underneath that piece of underneath the napkin. Nobody will know the difference.
I happen to know that your lovely wife Danielle, she is of the Jewish persuasion,
and we used a light bulb.
So you did.
That was my next question. We were told to do by the higher ups to do that.
Okay. Higher ups.
I don't know what it's called in your world.
Like the rabbis?
Well, we didn't get married by a rabbi.
I would hope not. Those guys are, they'll cut your dick off. I don't know.
I wasn't a bris.
That joke's going to be funny to me and only me.
Yeah, that's not true. There's other Jews out there, Jewish folk. Not for this show.
Watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Which I enjoy. What was my point? Playing games.
Playing games with Jimmy Pardo.
It is a 30-minute game show.
It is.
Where I chit-chat with a celebrity.
Yes.
And then said celebrity sits idly by while the contestants play the game.
I listened to an episode of it.
Who'd you listen to?
I listened to the Zach Galifianakis episode.
How much fun was that?
I laughed myself silly. I literally fell off my chair laughing.
Well, thank you.
And split my pants open and had a heart attack.
It was great fun, and it kind of takes the Never Not Funny podcast, which is generally between 90 minutes and 2 hours, into a half-hour format, and shows a little bit of fun with interview, and then there's a structure of a game, and then the game ends with the contestant having to go head-to-head, not unlike Ben Stein style.
Right, against the celebrity.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it was your contestants.
Yes.
And this is the brilliant part. They didn't need to be in the studio with you.
They call in.
And the connections were fine.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure the great Matt Belknap, your producer, makes sure that they call in and they've got a crystal clear connection.
That's right.
Before they start rolling.
Yep.
Because he's a thorough guy.
Yes.
And I thought it sounded great. And I am actually very excited to listen to the other episodes that are available.
Well, there's 5 more available right now. We're going to be doing some new ones in the new year.
Okay.
And the great thing about it is game show nerds, which I am one, game show nerds love it and comedy nerds love it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of more people learning about it because I think that One could argue it should get a bigger audience than my podcast because there's more of a structure, it's more formatted. It's fun to play along.
It is fun to play along.
It's fun to hear people get it right and then or get it wrong and then get Pardoed, which is me making fun of them.
Yep.
I'm really proud of it. Thank you for bringing it up.
It's my absolute pleasure.
Thanks.
Yeah, and and if I'm not mistaken, it's an Earwolf podcast.
It is an Earwolf podcast.
So we can freely talk about it right here. We're getting a healthy nod from Jordan in the booth.
Now, is that a nod that Jordan's listened to it or that it's confirmed that it's on Earwolf?
It's confirmed it's on Earwolf.
Well, then listen to it, Jordan. Do your homework when you have a guest. Come on.
So sorry. I'm still trying to find Jimmy Kimmel things.
Nobody gives a shit about that anymore.
Okay, we don't have to look it up. It's fine. I'll
start listening to playing games.
I mean, I did find information.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
People have given up. Nobody cares.
We'll come back to this. What do we got?
So, contrary to its name, Jimmy Kimmel Live, it has never recorded, aired live.
Oh, that's not true.
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
There's no way that's correct.
There's no way that's correct?
No, there's no way that's correct. It was without a doubt, it was live minimum 1 month.
Yeah.
Possibly 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, it says that it's recorded that day at 5.
No, there was a time.
No, there was a time when it's absolutely, and I know because I'm sure you attended tapings of it as I did, it was a live show to the East Coast.
Yes.
They may have aired on a delay.
I'm gonna text my friend Jeff.
Okay.
And ask.
Text Jeff.
But what else did you find?
This is just incorrect.
Is it Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does Wikipedia?
Because there is a meme that says, something about, how petty I am? I once edited a Wikipedia page to win an argument I knew I was wrong about. And that's the problem with Wikipedia is you can literally do that. Well, I think it was Wayne Fetterman used to have a joke where he said, as an experiment, he put into the Thomas Jefferson Wikipedia page that Thomas Jefferson was born with one blue eye and one brown eye, or something like that. He said, and I put it in there, I'll never know how far and wide that reached, but I want to imagine that at least 100 reports on Thomas Jefferson that kids had to submit in school had that piece of information in them.
Should we put into Jimmy Kimmel Live that Kevin Pollak chat show has talked about Jimmy Kimmel Live?
If you'd like.
I'm going to put it in right now.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know who that serves, but...
I don't either. But
all
sure.
The listeners.
Yeah, you'd be foolish not to, I guess.
All right. There we go.
We added to Randy Travis's Wikipedia page.
Oh, what did you have to say about Trav?
That his album Forever and Ever was my #1 album of 1987 or 88, which is true.
That's his.
I loved his album.
Yeah. Oh, that's your Jimmy Pardo's favorite album.
I think it's #2. Don Dixon, Romeo and Juliet was #1.
Okay.
I think we put it on there like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I believe it is still on the Randy Travis page. And again, who cares?
Right.
Why do we need to know that Jimmy Pardo liked this album?
Right. And if I may be very topical, if you look anything up on Wikipedia today, which I guess is November 29th, they are in the middle of their pledge drive.
Oh, where they're asking
for money. And it is really hard to ask for my money while at the same time having something that can be so wildly wrong and any reasonable professor will not allow you to cite as a source. So I'm sorry, I can't.
I do love it though.
I love it. It's great to look up something like somebody's birthday. They don't always get wrong, but even then, if I ask someone, "Where did you read that?" Wikipedia.
You don't believe it.
I don't necessarily believe it.
But I do think it's great for like band discographies.
Sure. Those are generally pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But anytime I hear something that's incredulous, my gut tells me it came from Wikipedia.
Pardon me while I look up incredulous because you are...
Incredulity. Hey, you.
Yeah?
Here's a story I know that you told on panel, which is the fancy word for when you're on a late night or a daytime talk show.
Yes.
And you're talking to the host. Because you got to fulfill what is one of my lifelong fantasies. You got to throw out the first pitch at your I know we are both I was born in Chicago, you were born and raised in Chicago, so you've one up me there, but I know I'm north side, you're south side, you're a White Sox fan.
That's right.
And that's okay, I won't hold that against you, but you got to throw out, well, I'm a Cubs fan, I'm literally wearing the hat.
Yeah, but I don't subscribe to that I'm mad at the other team because of different clothing.
I'm not mad at them. There's no animosity, it's just that playful playful, rivalry between crosstown.
I don't mind the playful rivalry, but understand something, Sam. I being raised there.
Yeah.
And growing up on the South Side, where it's a lot of guys, hey, Jim, you up on the North Side with those queers?
Yeah.
Cub fan, huh? They're a bunch of queers.
Yeah.
It's awful. And so I grew up hating the idea of, why do we hate another baseball team? Mm-hmm. Why do we hate them? I hope they're both in the World Series.
Wouldn't that be something?
I hope every team wins. Who cares? Why are we mad at clothing?
Wait, hang on. Every team wins? No, that can't happen.
Every of those two teams.
You know every team
Those two
can't
teams,
win.
you a-hole.
All right.
But yes, in 2012, we were in, it's back when I was working for Conan. Mm-hmm. And they reached out and said, can Jimmy Pardo throw out the first pitch? And he's a local boy, done good, quote unquote. And growing up on the South Side, as I mentioned, I had two dreams as a child. Mm-hmm. To play for the White Sox.
Well, of course.
And to host The Tonight Show. Well, here I am representing... please welcome from the TBS Conan, Jimmy Pardo.
Yeah.
So I'm on the mound of the White Sox at the time. I think it was U.S. Cellular. I'm on the mound, throwing out the first pitch, representing as close as I'm going to get to hosting the Tonight Show.
A former host of the Tonight Show,
right? So there were people there like from my grade school. Like, holy crap, man! I was at the game and I got that. I saw you throw out the first pitch. I was there, and it was, and I brought my dad was with me, my wife and my son. It was a heck of a day.
Oh,
it was a heck of a day.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, I looked at my phone and it was blowing up with, have you seen this the Sun Times today? Have you seen the Chicago Sun Times? And there's a picture of you on the back page. And so I was like, oh, geez, I should run downstairs and get the. So we're in a hotel room.
Yep.
And I run downstairs to the gift shop there at the hotel and turn over the Chicago Sun Times, and there is what some could argue the worst photograph. It looked like I was doing a ballet move, but I argue that if I had a glove on, it wouldn't look silly at all.
Right.
But I don't have a glove on, a baseball glove.
Right. Why would you? No one ever does.
Nobody ever
the
does.
First pitch.
And if you did, boy, do you look like a loser.
Yep.
It's a silly photograph that is I've since embraced, but at the time I was like, oh, I need to go around the city and buy every copy of this newspaper so nobody else sees this.
And I love that photo.
Yeah.
And for those listening, you can easily Google Jimmy Pardo first pitch.
Yeah. But I'm proud of it. There I was. I mean, the entire back page. It wasn't just a photo on the back page.
It's a huge photo.
It is the back page.
Yeah. And I love that photo. And I've got to believe the editor of the Sun-Times is like, well, he's a humorist. He's the premier name humorist.
He'll get a kick out of this funny picture. He has no idea that now for 6 years I've been kicked in the balls about it.
Was it you or was it Andy who suggested that it looked like you were throwing a handful of daisies?
It may have even been Conan. I know that wasn't me, but it was either Andy or Conan, that made fun of it. And
it is, honestly, it's, I did not text you or email you about it because I felt like you were definitely hearing that enough. But it truly is one of my favorite pictures because it represents you living out a fantasy. And
here's the memory. Here's how it was documented.
But surely you must have other private photos that were taken.
I don't.
Come on.
I don't.
There was no photographer that gave you a slightly better version.
No.
Your wife, none of your friends, no one took a decent photo of you.
Well, no, because my wife, good for her, she wanted to be in the moment and watch it.
Sure.
There's pictures of me on the field with my son and my family.
Okay.
We did receive a video with no audio, oddly enough, just video of me throwing out the pitch, which, by the way, was if you were a left-handed batter, maybe just a tad inside. Just a tad. It was a pretty good throw.
Did you practice?
Here's what I did, Sam.
Yeah.
I went to the park and practiced because I did not want to 50-cent it.
Nuh-uh.
Didn't want to baba-booey it.
These are both great references for first pitches gone wrong.
Right. And then, boy, there's one that's even worse than those two. Who I don't remember who it was, but... Yeah. And I was throwing heat. I'm throwing strikes. And then somebody pointed out, I think it was the guy that ran the park. He's like, that's only about 45 feet. A major league is 60. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So then I didn't really have time to practice on the further mound. So I was a little bit in my head, and when I got there, Ed Farmer, who does play-by-play for the Sox radio.
Yep.
They introduced me. They said, this is Jimmy Pardo. He's from Oak Forest, which is a suburb of Chicago. Now lives out in L.A., and he's here representing the Conan show. He's throwing out the first pitch. And he said, it's not the first pitch, it's the first toss, which I thought he was being condescending at first.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. And he goes, no, seriously, think of it as a first toss.
Right.
Think of it as playing catch with your dad. If you think of it playing catch with your dad, you're never going to miss the target.
Right.
If you're trying to throw a strike, you're never going to come anywhere near it.
Yeah.
And that was the best advice. So sure enough, I got out there. I pictured it just being my dad.
Sure.
And I threw it. And it was, like I say, just a tad
inside.
A tad inside.
Okay.
So I'm proud of my throw.
That's great. Now, did you pitch literally from the top of the mound,
Of course.
or just in front of the mound?
No, I went to.
All right. Well, sometimes they leave the tarp on. They won't let you go.
No, sir. This
All
is
right.
the White Sox. They don't care.
You slidled up right against the rubber?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was afraid of slipping on the rubber.
You come next to it. You don't want to be on it.
Because I wear watery shoes.
You wear water shoes.
Yeah, at all times.
The footsies that kids used to wear at the water parks in the 80s?
I'm going to tell you something about those.
Please.
I once bought them at a mall in Indianapolis and wore them around the mall. Not for humor.
What?
I thought they were comfortable.
What year was this?
1990 or 91.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You were a full adult then.
Yep.
There's no excuse for
And
that.
and with the other comics. And the other comics were like, why are you wearing those? I go, they're very comfortable.
And what did you do with your existing shoes? You just carried them around?
I put them in the
in the box.
I put them in the box.
Yeah. And you just walked around
in the swim shoes.
In the swim shoes.
Like a jerk.
Oh.
Jerk.
That should have been on the back page of the Sun-Times.
Listen, we're covered. Dumb photos of me are covered. Fine. But it was a dream. It was a dream, and I was thrilled to have done it.
Embarrassing picture or not, I remain insanely jealous.
Well, you can do it with your... come on.
Look, I came very close. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I was at one point actually on the schedule to do it. And this was leading up to the release of a feature film called Inglourious Bastards that I'm fortunate enough to have a small role in. And like I said, I was on the schedule. And then the particular team underwent a staffing change.
Oh.
And the person who booked all of the people to do that was released. And then the new person who came in called my people and said, I don't know who this guy is. I'm canceling this appearance. And they were like, oh, he's in the new Tarantino movie. And evidently her response was, who's Quentin Tarantino?
No.
I swear to you.
Scram, lady.
So it is my understanding she held that job for a matter of weeks, but it was just long enough to knock me off of the schedule. And then when the new person took over, they were like, yeah, well, let us know when he's got another new movie coming out. We'll see what we can do. And of course, I've only been in independent films and television since Inglourious Bastards. I was cut out of a couple of studio films since then.
Right.
But that is honestly, that is the last big studio movie I was in.
But one could argue that the freaks and geeks,
it's all right.
The excitement of that.
I'm a young man, ish, and I'm confident it will happen at some point.
Oh no! You're done.
Oh, you're probably right.
That woman was right to pull the plug on this.
I
want to know what team it is off the air. I'm also. I'll say this: the Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. They also reached out to the Cubs to have me either throw out a first pitch or sing the seventh inning stretch.
Oh yeah,
which they will occasionally. Ever since Harry Carey passed away, they will have a celebrity.
Yes.
Or any high school football coach. And so when I'm fascinated by that, in that the Cubs will say, like they said, hey, we think Jimmy's great. We think he's very funny, whether they mean that or not. Who cares?
Yeah.
But you know what? He's not a big enough name, which one could argue the night before was Will Ferrell. How do you then have Jimmy Pardo? I get that. But when you go, we've got the coach from St. Lawrence High School. Mm-hmm. And how does that make the cut? Because it's sports?
It's hard to justify. It really is.
It's like, because one could argue more people know who I am than that guy.
Right. I guess they may be more appealing to the physical audience in the building literally cheering the name of a nearby city.
But in my case, you could say originally, again, like just like they did at White Sox at U.S. Cellular, originally from Chicago, from Oak Forest, Illinois, a former Bengal.
Yep.
Now here representing Conan.
Yep.
The place would go crazy.
They would.
Or they would shrug like they do when it's the coach from St. Lawrence.
There's very little rhyme or reason to that. I do know that because I watch a lot of Cubs games on television, more often than not, they air on television the singing of the seventh inning stretch, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So I have seen a lot of people excel at it, but more often than not, they really blow it.
They blow it. Even good singers kind of don't do a great job.
Yeah, it's weird. The biggest problem, I think, is pacing. And not to brag or nothing, but I have gotten to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with a crowd of actual celebrities the past almost 10 years now in Kansas City.
Oh, as part of the...
Big Slick.
Yes.
The big...
Which I am... You want to talk about jealousy.
Oh.
I wish I was just a scooch more recognizable so that I could participate in that.
There is not a chance you couldn't. If I'm invited, it's ludicrous that you can't get
You've got the Freaks and Geeks cachet.
I don't know about that cachet. Sure.
Cachet.
I have no pull there, but I'll talk to some people.
I see those pictures every year of you playing grab ass with Paul Rudd and
How do you see those pictures? You just started following me today.
I see. I follow Eric Stone Street.
There it is.
John Hamm did it one year.
Johnny Hamm did it, yeah.
I see those,
all right.
And it's like, hey, those are all my friends.
Yeah,
I would love to. Be out there.
Where did my invite get lost in the mail? That's what I want to know. Yeah. And I'm looking into this for you.
Sam, I can only thank you publicly.
I can promise you nothing, but I will look into it. But the point is, when you're out there, we do it physically from the field,
right?
And they don't give there's only like 3 earpieces to go around, and they go to the Paul Rudds and the Rob Riggles and the Jason Sudeikis. So the rest of us are just standing there with a microphone near us, and then they're like, and go, and we start singing, and every now and then I'll pause and I'll realize we are either way ahead of or way behind everyone singing along in the crowd.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it looks like, but most of the people at Wrigley Field, they screw it up.
They do. And I think part of it is that there's that like there's a little ramp up with the organ before take. And I think people start singing take.
Or it's that live musician thing where you're nervous, so you speed it up. Because you just want to get through it. Yeah. There's that. That's a big issue, I think. But that's not a mistake you or I would make.
No,
we're professionals.
Well, I don't think I'm ever going to have the opportunity.
I know. Don't disagree. You too are a young man.
I'm okay. By the way, Jeff Babko did respond to me. I said, "Can you remind me how long JK Live was actually live?" And his response was, "I can."
Who is he, my father? Hey, Dad, you know what time it is? I sure do.
Oh, boy.
Yep, that's...
I wrote back,
Harris J. Levine DDS joke from my childhood.
Now, whenever you've come on Never Not Funny, we've talked about your father.
That's why I referred to him by his professional name.
And if I remember correctly, we said if anybody went to your father's practice and mentioned they heard it on the podcast, they would get some sort of a discount.
Yes.
And did that ever happen? Do we know?
As a matter of fact, it did.
Oh, good.
It took 3 years.
But it finally happened?
Somebody showed up, and while sitting in the chair with my father, mentioned that he'd heard it. And I don't know exactly what work the gentleman was having done, but my father, cheap bastard he is, when the guy said, "Do I get my discount?" my father immediately went, "Oh, that was only good for a couple months."
Oh, gee, come on, DDS.
So
it finally happened.
It did happen, and would not honor it.
Well, that seems unfair.
It seems unfair. So
he got a new patient out of it.
I don't know that he got a new patient. But he got I don't know that the guy never said specifically, "I only came to you because I heard your son and Jimmy talking about it." There's no question
that's what he was doing there. Hang on.
Then we should be getting a cut of whatever he made. Let's be honest. A finder's fee at least.
Now listen, Jeff Babko is, I think they're about to tape their show.
They are. It's 5:00 now. That's when they tape. So it's ludicrous that he's even responding to you.
I'm going to apologize. I'm sorry for texting. Again,
No.
This is to help the show.
You text. I'm going to do another ad for our sponsor.
Go ahead.
Today's episode is brought to you by Arbys. Is it diarrhea? I don't know. Did you have Arbys? It might be diarrhea. Thanks a lot, Arbys. I actually feel like... if you're fortunate enough to go into an Arbys, go in with Kevin Pollak and David Harbour. That's the last.
Oh, David Harbour from
Stranger Things. Yeah, that's the last time I was in an Arbys.
You went into Arbys with David Harbour and Kevin Pollak, 2 character actors.
Yes,
3, including yourself.
Yes,
and people. What's the reaction?
Mostly they wanted to know if I worked there. 2 people asked if I. Oh, we got a laugh. A laugh from Jordan Artek, so loud I heard it through the soundproof glass.
I'm so sorry. That was so funny.
No, thank you. Honest to God, thank you. I wish you were in the room with us. And then I wouldn't have had to point that out. But no, the reaction was they lucked out because we went in the middle of the day and the crowd was light. Mm-hmm. But poor David Harbour, a guy who has made a great living for himself as a character actor for the last 25 years, now cannot walk down the street.
Yeah.
Because he's very tall and very immediately recognizable. And
if you have Netflix.
That's a pretty popular show.
It is very popular.
And he lives in New York. So you know the crowd that watches the Stranger Things. They're New Yorkers. They're coastal people.
They are?
Yeah. It's very popular in the coastal.
I would think your quote unquote flyover states like that program.
It does well everywhere. It's a very popular show.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of Stranger Things.
I'm not.
You don't have to be.
I'm very vocal about it.
Very vocal. I didn't ask. You volunteered.
Very vocal. Well, I don't want anybody to listen to this and going, hey, how come Jimmy didn't, why did he play along as if it's great?
I didn't make any assertions of its quality. I just said where it was popular.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That was one of those where admittedly I hipster lied for a lot of season 1 because I didn't want to feel left out. So it was like, it's great. And then eventually I just like, well, I don't like this. Why am I lying?
Okay.
It's not my bag, man.
That's perfectly fine. That is an attitude I wish more people would be willing to voice. I do not care for musicals.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. And I have never once said musicals are bad. I've never said they are an invalid art form. I don't get how people like those. I've never said that. I will tell you point blank. I get why it is an art form that people love. I can see how someone would enjoy it. It is just not my bag. It's just not for me. I am not its audience. And
you don't like it. Not one musical appeals to you.
I have seen so many musicals for a guy who says he doesn't like musicals.
Okay.
And even the best ones, the ones that, and I can't tell you, when I tell someone I don't like musicals, oh, well, no, you have to see this. It's for people who don't like musicals. No, you're going to love Spam-A-Lot. You're going to love the Book of Mormon. You're going to love The Producers. It's great. And I see them and I'm like, you're right. This is a great musical. It is a shame I don't enjoy musicals.
Now, what about, and I'm not playing this game, but Hedwig kind of is a little different in that it's more like a concert than a musical.
Sure.
Have you seen Hedwig?
I have seen
and
Hedwig.
And it still falls underneath the...
The problem for me is when I am watching or reading or listening to a story, nothing grinds my gears more than an unnecessary break in the action of storytelling. And musicals are the epitome of an unnecessary break in the middle of storytelling to sing and dance.
But they're singing and dancing to move the story along.
Sure, but
generally
speaking, that's what those the singing and dancing represents. But the problem is, you could just say the sentence and not take 5.5 minutes to do a number. And that, for me, is where I lose interest. And again, I'm not saying there's anything invalid about that. This is a great art form for that. It's just not an art form that speaks to me. So that's fine if you're not sitting there saying you think Stranger Things is garbage.
No, I don't.
You're just saying it's just not for you.
It's not me. It's not for me.
And that's.
I also don't understand why you like it.
Well, I
don't understand it. I think it's garbage. No,
wait a minute.
Wait a minute. That's not what you said.
But it speaks to me because I like references and I like spooky things.
Let me give you some information here.
I love information.
This is they were live from. We were live from the first show, Super Bowl Sunday.
How about that?
2003 for a few months.
A few months.
Then somebody swore. And Standards and Practices didn't catch it, and then they were tape delayed for a bit, and then they kept pushing it back, and now they just record it like 5 o'clock for later airing.
Okay.
And Jordan.
And side note, Wikipedia now says The Kevin Pollak Chat Show podcast has frequently discussed Jimmy Kimmel Live on multiple occasions about the show actually airing live or not, which in fact, the first year it has aired live.
Oh, all right. Look at that.
Look at that.
Let's see how long that
stays up.
Yeah.
Much like Thomas Jefferson and his different colored eyes, we got something of an answer, and now we are Wikipedia famous. Thank you, Jordan.
You're so welcome.
Creating a possible factoid.
Well, listen, I just I got it right from the horse's mouth there, so we know exactly what was going on.
Okay.
But you were right about that Super Bowl Sunday. I would if I was at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and that was like for the $1 million, I would be like, there's no way they did their first episode on a Sunday. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I would have lost the money, and Regis would punch me in the balls.
I also remembered Coldplay was the musical guest.
They were.
And they closed down Hollywood Boulevard for it.
They do like to close off Hollywood Boulevard when it's a big musical act, don't they?
Boy, do they. And I am so glad I don't live in that area.
Yeah.
But I have had the unfortunate instance where I've accidentally tried to cross through that area when Jimmy Kimmel Live has closed down Hollywood Boulevard. And it is not cool. Anytime anything closes down Hollywood Boulevard.
And the award shows, when the Oscars are there, it's closed for a week.
You people who are not in the Hollywood area, you don't know how we're suffering to bring you these award shows. Where's our relief fund for those of us who get stuck in traffic for an extra 90 minutes?
I think you're undermining people that actually need relief funds, so I cannot yes and this bit. I cannot yes and this bit, Sam.
I don't know that I'm undermining them.
I think you may or may not be.
I had a friend who wrote a tweet recently that was very, very topical and chilling because it was accurate. He said, at what point is the most popular insurance plan going to just be a GoFundMe page?
You know what? I think that either I saw that very tweet or that was
it circulated.
Yes,
or versions of it did.
That was Randy Singer. Randy.
The one I'm referring to, I think, came from my friend Lon Harris. But I mean, it is one of those stand-up type jokes where it would not be ridiculous for four comics who don't know each other who told versions of the same joke. But yeah, that is where we're headed. And these are weird times. These are weird times. You know what's not weird?
What's that? Go back to your notes.
Is
what do you got? What's not weird?
Help me pronounce the name of your most recent album.
Sprezzatura.
Thank you.
Sprezzatura. It's Italian for organized chaos.
Aha!
That's what it is.
It is still available on a special thing.
Yeah, I think you can get it on
vinyl.
I know it's available as on iTunes, but I think vinyl might be sold. But maybe there's vinyl.
It might be sold out. I think you're right.
Vinyl available, no CD, or CD available, no vinyl?
CD available. Actually, I did look at this today. CD is available for, I want to say, $12.
Okay.
And then here's something that I wanted to ask you about. Autographed CD.
What are we asking?
$15.
$3, buddy.
That's
a collectible.
$3 signature.
That's a collectible.
I think you're underselling again.
It takes.
I would have gone 20.
I think 20 is too much for a CD.
But it's not a CD. It's a CD with a Jimmy Pardo autograph.
Which, by the way, you can get live at my shows for $10.
Do you charge $10 for an autograph?
I charge $10 for a CD.
Oh.
And
that was not clear.
More than happy to sign it. Yeah, no, I'm an a-hole that, sure, I'll sign that for you, $10.
Well, look, that's how plenty of people earn a living doing the conventions.
Well, I know they do, but that's a little situation.
These people have already paid entrance specifically to see you.
Yes.
And you're going to get a piece of that at least. So I hope.
I would like nothing more than to sit at a table at a convention and make a couple of bucks meeting people.
Do you know, I do that on occasion.
And
people have, other people in the industry have asked me if I enjoy it or not, because they're thinking about doing it themselves. And I always tell them the same thing, which is it's only something that you should do if you are comfortable having the exact same conversation 500 times a day for 3 days straight.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
because my father-in-law.
And I sat next to your father-in-law at one of those 2 years ago.
Walter Koenig, for those that don't know, he played Chekhov on Star Trek, so he does quite a bit of those.
Yes,
and he's one of those icons that there's always a line.
Always.
So he's always busy.
Yep,
But I've been to those with my son when we go to visit, where you'll see maybe the guy from
Battlestar Galactica.
Right.
Yeah.
With nobody waiting in line.
Right.
Now, do you go through stretches of time where there's nobody coming up to you and then you feel badly about yourself?
Only the first part of that is accurate. I go through stretches where there's no one waiting in line or at my table, and then I go through stretches where there's 20 people waiting.
Okay.
It's very strange. I've never been able to figure out the formula of why sometimes there's people waiting and sometimes I have no one.
Do you think it's because like somebody sees, hey, there's a line over there, and then they get in line just because, hey, there's action over there?
Maybe. I mean, you can see who you're getting in line for pretty easily. Sometimes the thing that irks me about those is the physical way the booths where people are signing are set up. Sometimes they can be tucked away in the back. Or they will often lead with the bigger names close to the entrance.
Shouldn't be that way. Should be the opposite.
It should be the opposite, because then people are like, oh my God, so-and-so is here, and they get in that line and they don't realize an autograph from that person costs $100.
Yeah.
And they only brought $100 for autographs.
Right.
And then they finish, they wait 20 minutes, they get the autograph, and then they're like, oh my God, there's 4 other people here who are only charging a quarter of what the first guy charged, and I could have all of their signatures, but no, I'm leaving with William Shatner's signature.
And that's who you're specifically saying Shatner.
Actually, I'm not. Do you know why? I believe he charges $150.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I don't care if that number's wrong. I have never had a good encounter with him, and I have nothing nice to say.
The words of Samm Levine do not represent those of Jimmy Pardo. Jimmy Pardo is his own human being who does not agree with the topic or the conversation at hand. Very uncomfortable. My son is the grandchild of somebody from Star Trek. Therefore, we do not agree with anything that's happening at the moment. At all. At all.
How do you feel about Bette Midler?
Not even saying this for humor. Do not care for this. Bette Midler's divine. She's the divine Miss M. What do you mean? How do I feel about Bette Midler? I'd like to. Bette Midler's a person I've never met, but boy, do I wish I could someday.
All right.
And Cher. Those are the two that I want to meet.
Okay. Cher. Ooh, I would love to meet Cher.
Yeah, those are the two.
Do you follow her on Twitter? Because if you don't, you're missing out.
Yes.
All right. She tweets a lot of
she's
fun stuff.
Yes, she does.
She has a great sense of humor.
I have been obsessed with the old Sonny and Cher shows that they are running on Get TV. And I've said this on the Never Not Funny podcast, and I'll say it now. And I say this with no humor.
Okay.
I am madly in love with 70s Cher. I'm in love with her.
I don't blame you.
I'm creepily in love with 70s Cher.
Okay.
That's it.
So
I don't know how you're supposed to respond to that.
No, that's
telling
fine.
you,
Let's
it's a very uncomfortable situation. That's how much I'm in love with her.
Well, then let me put it to you this way.
Yes.
I want you to pretend.
Yes.
1973 Cher.
Yes.
Is sitting right here next.
I am not doing improvisation. I'm not going to do some crazy role-playing game. I'm not in therapy.
Oh, she just walked out of the room. You missed your chance. You had your chance, Jimmy.
I am not.
1973 Cher sat right here, and now she's walked out of the room.
As she should. She shouldn't have to be objectified the way that you wanted to.
Objectify? You were going to tell her how talented she was?
She's wonderful. I love her music. I love her comedy chops. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan.
You are a fan. All right. Well, I'm sorry that you chose to let her walk away. I knew her a little bit. I could have put in a word.
You don't know Cher.
No, I don't know present day Cher, but I know
1973
Cher?
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I no-butted your bit.
You refused to yes and.
I'm not going to.
And now you've no-butted.
Well, because there's not even a third person here to play the character.
What?
You expect Jordan to pick up the slack?
Yes.
Jordan doesn't know how to use Wikipedia.
She sure does.
I'm 1973 Cher.
Oh, God bless you, Jordan.
Remember when Cher had this little bit of a southern accent? Remember those days?
I'm 1973 Cher.
There it is.
I don't
God,
believe it's
I
her.
loved you in Moonstruck.
That sounds like 73 Dolly Parton or Reba McEntire.
Was Reba McEntire around in 73?
I would imagine she
feel
was
like
born.
She's young. Oh, I just meant was she a presence on the scene?
I'm going to say that Reba McEntire's first album came out in 1978. That's my guess.
Oh, so no, she was not a presence on the scene in 1973.
I'm going to guess 78 was Reba McEntire's first album.
Okay.
And there's a 100% chance I'm wrong. But I don't think it's earlier than that.
I would not know. I'm not a Reba guy.
A Reba-phile?
I'm not a Reba-phile.
That's what we call ourselves in the fan club.
According to, oh God, I can't believe I'm about to cite Wikipedia.
But again, discographies and Wikipedia are very good.
She released her first solo album in 1977.
What did I say?
78.
I said 78.
Yeah,
that's pretty
very
good.
Close.
That's pretty good.
I will give you credit for just about nailing that.
That was pretty good.
And that was very
And by
good.
the way, I met Reba McEntire, and I just about nailed it. No, it's I did meet Reba McEntire once. She was very, very kind.
Yes. Now that I think about it, I too met her once briefly, and she was very kind to me. She had that show on the WB called Reba.
Did you do a guest spot on there?
I did not, but I was filming next door.
Oh.
And Joanna Garcia, who was an actress who I met on Freaks and Geeks, was a regular on that show. So I popped over to say hello. And she introduced me to Reba, who was a goddamn delight.
She's very nice. I used to work for MCA Records back in the 80s, and I had to, quote unquote, cover it as part of my job. I had to be the guy there introducing record store employees to the artist. I was the liaison. And she was a delight. She was just a delight, Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
I'd like to share that story with her one day.
Can we bring her in? Is she?
No,
is she outside with 1973?
She's out there.
I'm Reba McEntire.
Hey, wait a minute. Cher is here. That sounds like Cher. That's 1973. Cher is back.
Sure is.
I would murder Sonny Bono.
Oh, no.
To spend time with 73 Cher.
Oh, a tree did that for you. He didn't die from a tree injury. Remember that skiing accident he had?
Yeah.
That was unfortunate.
Well, we lost him. We lost him too soon. He was, by all accounts, a nice man.
I never got to meet him.
He was
but I enjoyed him in Airplane 2.
Where he is sweating profusely.
Yeah.
Holding a bomb.
Holding a bomb in a briefcase.
We just watched Airplane 2, my son and I.
What did Ollie think of it?
Well, we call him Oliver. He loves Airplane 1.
See that?
Airplane 2, Dad, this is terrible.
Oof.
And he's not wrong.
No, it was a steep drop off.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, it's just retreads. Well, and not done well.
Yeah. Have you, I know you are a cinephile. I know that you are.
Don't know about that, but go ahead.
Yeah. The movie that Airplane, the original, is based on.
Well, which one? Like airports?
See, that's a lot of people think it's based on the Airport series.
I thought it was.
It is not.
What's it based on?
It is based on a B movie called 0 Hour.
Well, I did not know.
And
did you talk to one of the
Zuckers about it?
The Zuckers about it?
I have not spoken to the Zuckers or an Abrams, but I have done my fair share of research, and this is one of my favorite things about it, is that the original movie 0 Hour, and I apologize, I've tried finding a way where when I talk about it online, people can then seek out 0 Hour to watch it on their own. At present, to my knowledge, there is no outlet to find it.
I see.
So you'd have to ask me for my old VHS copy of it, but I'm not going to give that to you. But they borrowed so heavily,
really,
from 0 Hour, right down to specific lines of dialogue, that the studio was so nervous they were going to get sued and it wasn't going to be covered under parody law that they purchased the remake rights,
really,
to 0 Hour. So that they could release Airplane without fear of litigation.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I actually, believe it or not, did as part of the Wayne Fetterman Film Festival. My movie was Airplane. And give me the Zuckers' names.
David Zucker and Jerry Zucker.
One of them came.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't do the first names. That didn't help me at all. One of them came and spoke at length about it. And probably gave this information as I sat there. Now, I had to sit next to him during it.
Oh.
And I remember, I don't know if there's a movie I've watched more in my lifetime than Airplane.
Yeah.
Laughing like crazy. And then, 30 years later, you laugh. Mm-hmm. But it's not laughing when you're 13 at it.
Sure.
But I'm next to the man that made it. Boy, did I laugh. I had to.
Of course you did.
He's right there.
Yeah.
And he was laughing, slapping his knee like he's never seen these jokes before.
He's forgotten about them. That's what happens with age.
Well, listen.
You forget about the. It's like rereading your old tweets. You ever do that?
No.
That's what I'm going through. I'm trying to figure out what to delete. Wait a minute. But it's. I'll tell you what I have done is I've accidentally. Like if I'm searching for something in my phone, I don't know why iPhones do this. If you're searching for something and then you put in like a keyword, sometimes it'll bring up a text that you had with someone, and if you click on it, it takes you back like 2 years
that's interesting.
into a text chain. And so on occasion, I found myself like, oh, wait, look, what were we talking about then? And I will see something that I wrote to someone and not laugh at how clever I was, but laugh at what an off-color joke I thought was okay to make.
In print.
In print. That's there for eternity.
Yeah. That's not in passing.
No. So I really hope my friends delete their texts.
Well, they may or may not.
I have said
they're going to use it against you at some point.
They probably will.
Right, when Bob Mueller finally pulls you in.
Oh, not
when it's your
again.
when it's your turn in the barrel.
Yeah.
Which is a phrase I've never heard in my life, but I've heard 7 million times the past 18 months. It's going to be your turn in the barrel.
It is. Oh man, I was just in Mexico working on a feature film. Okay. And I had a driver / security guard with me whilst I was down there in Mexico City. And on our drive from the airport, our lengthy drive from the airport, he asked me honestly how I felt about our president and our political stuff going on here. And I started to tell him my thoughts, which I don't need to go into here. I think it's fairly obvious.
Right. You love him. You think he's great.
I think he's the best, and I wish people would give him a chance. And I started to tell him, and then I was like, why? What do you think? And then he went, oh, no, I think he's ridiculous. I've been driving a lot of Americans lately, and I always ask what they think before I start telling them what I think. And I said, that's bold because you're the one with the gun. That anyone would disagree with you.
Well, he's not going to shoot them.
I don't know.
Are you believing Trump on an escalator? They have guns. They're going to murder and rape. Why are you afraid? He's not going to turn around. You disagree with me and put a bullet in their head?
He's not going to put a bullet.
It's not a mob hit.
But basically, and then I asked him, I was like, what are the other people you talk to about American politics here in Mexico City think? And he said he literally does not know a person who thinks he's a qualified leader. Right. And I asked him, do you have friends abroad? And he had family in Portugal, and he said, yes, everyone thinks he is a joke. So right? It is the world over. It's a joke.
With the exception of the people that the small little 30% of this country.
30%.
That's it.
That's it. So this, these are interesting times. That's all I'm saying. These are interesting times.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm going to give him one more year. And then I'm going to really make my decision from there. But I want to see this through. The midterms are past us. Let's see how he handles this. And then I might be out. But I'm not out yet.
No,
somebody has to take it seriously. Jimmy Pardo says he supports our president. I do not.
Look, you've been so kind to sit here and jibber jabber with me, but I do want to ask you before I let you flee and head off to your gig in Pasadena.
Mm-hmm. Charity event. Doing a charity event.
It's a charity event.
Yes.
Can you say which charity?
That's for a school.
Oh, that's lovely.
For a local school.
That's
to raise money, and they apparently thought that me being on a show would help them.
Oh, hey.
I don't.
Are you emceeing?
No, I'm the headlining.
Oh my goodness! Do you know who else is on the bill?
I don't.
Do you need an opener?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Because
you don't do stand up.
As a matter of fact,
you don't do it. You did it when you were a child.
All right.
Go on.
I'll have you know.
Yes, and you're doing stand up now.
I'm doing stand up as of the ending of this podcast.
Well, good luck on your open mic days.
Do you know? No, I haven't been on the stage in about 2 years. But every time I think like I should get. No, I don't know. I've too much time has gone by. You know who I think of? Judd. Judd got back into stand-up after walking away from it for like 20 plus years. And now he's back in it. Now he's got a Netflix special. Yeah. And he's got those shows every month at Largo, multiple times a month. Mm-hmm. And I can see you are a big supporter of the Largo shows.
Wish everybody luck.
Oh, all right. Look, the point is it's never too late to get back
go
up
on.
there.
Okay, what?
It's never too late, right? If I said to you, Jimmy James Pardo, I have not been on stage in 2 years, and before that it was 10 years.
Yeah. I'd say,
what do you think?
You found your footing. You're doing, you followed your path.
Are you one of these? Now, look, I mean, I won't deny this when I am out and about in the world. Yeah. And, which is oftentimes for me. I'm not usually in this studio or on set. Mm-hmm. And a nice young man will come up to me. And he will say, hey, I know you're an actor. I recognize you from this thing or that thing. And I will say, thank you. And he will say, so I'd love to get into acting too. Do you have any advice? I'm sure you've heard this question.
Every day.
So for the first 10 years that people asked me that question, I would give the very friendly answer, give it everything you got. It's not for quitters. You got to keep at it. Success may be hard, but just, don't throw in the towel. The broad answers like that. I have since realized that I'm doing people a disservice.
What do you say now?
I give them the numbers. And here are the numbers. And they are chilling. I say, well, here's what you gotta realize. There's over 100,000 actors in the Actors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA. At any given time, only 7% are gainfully employed.
7%.
So you are trying to get into a business with a 93% unemployment rate. So my advice is get a real job and pursue it on the side. Because the likelihood of success grows slimmer with each passing year. And frankly, it is amazing to me that I have somehow defied the odds after all this time to find employment as well,
talent's played into that, Sam.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't dare. Don't you dare with that. I have success based entirely on luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tell young people, like, honestly, if there's something else that you could see yourself doing for the rest of your life that would bring you happiness, pursue that.
But if it's only this, like some stand-ups, myself included, it's in your bones and you can't imagine doing anything else. Then you have to. And that's what I say to young people when they say, how do I get into stand-up? It's like, you just go to open mics and do it. There's no shortcut. Don't be fooled by YouTube clips and so on. You have to go on stage and suck.
Yeah.
And then you'll have a couple of good shows. And then you'll suck.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple of good shows, and eventually the good shows will become more.
But not me. I'll just suck forever.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen you do stand-up. I have no opinion on it.
I'm not very good.
I've seen your acting. If it's anything like that, I think you'd be terrific.
Oh, you're a very sweet man. It's not like my acting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Now, you had one final question for me you were going to ask me?
Oh, I was going to ask you about your bread and butter. Never Not Funny.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
I presume it's still going on. It's one of the most successful podcasts in the podcast ether.
It is very well known and well liked. And I'm grateful that people enjoy it the way that they do.
And where can they hear it?
Well, you can go to nevernotfunny.com, or you can go to earwolf.com. Right here on the network.
Earwolf Podcast Network.
Yeah.
And I do happen to know that you're also still touring. And you've got some upcoming gigs.
I have New Year's Eve in Burlington, Iowa. A very rare New Year's Eve gig for Jimmy Pardo.
Wow, you don't.
Not a fan of them.
Oh,
not a fan.
But they made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
Here's what happened, Sam.
Yep.
I said I'll never do another New Year's Eve. The only way I do it is if it's an early show, they pay me the right money, and I get the right opener. And they said yes to all of it.
Wow.
So it's a 7:30 show, done by 9.
Look at that. Asleep by 10:15.
At least. I'm in my room by 10. There's no doubt in my mind. But yeah, I've done too many New Year's Eves in my career where, you're helping count down to midnight.
Sure.
Which in my younger drunken days was fun.
Fine.
Now I don't need to battle the amateurs that are out at midnight on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make laugh.
I hear you.
7:30, welcome.
Perfect. So I know you have a couple others. I won't make you try to remember them. They're all listed on your website, jimmypardo.com. Okay. I didn't know if it was a .net situation. I wasn't paying that close attention.
No, .com. I got in early.
You got in on that early?
Yeah.
Phew, lucky you.
Twitter's the only thing I wasn't in on early.
That's it?
Podcasting I've been doing a long time.
Okay. You're not on Instagram. I've noticed that.
No, I'm not.
No.
Nope.
You're not on Twitch.
No, I'm not.
I'm just going to start. That one's real, but let me start making ones up. You're not on Panda Hat.
Yep, wrong.
You're not. You are on Panda Hat.
I love it.
Oh, wow.
I love it. It's that app where you put little panda ears on everybody's little face.
Yep.
It's fun.
That's a fun site.
Boy, that's a good site.
I want you to know by the conclusion of this podcast, I guarantee you someone will have bought Panda Hat.
I hope so.
.net. And they will try to sell it to both you and I to the tune of $10,000.
I'm good.
I'm going to buy it.
Oh.
I'm foolish with money.
Do you want to go 90-10 on that? I'll buy 10% of it.
Done.
All right, I'm in.
All right, so give me the $10 on your way out and we're good. I don't know math. Guys, Jimmy.
Sam.
Dude, thank you for sitting here and gabbing with me.
Welcome.
And suffering through.
Welcome.
Oh, he didn't say he didn't suffer. Well, that's all right. I made you suffer a little.
I don't know if I suffered at all.
Yeah, well, you're a kind man, and I appreciate that you would take the time.
I'm honored to have been asked.
Out of sitting around when you otherwise could have been at Arbys, gathering your thoughts.
Yep.
Surfing the net. Do people say surfing the net? They don't, do they?
Do they? I've just been told
nope.
they don't.
We have just been told by the youth of America. That is not a term that anyone but me uses. I just want to thank the wonderful people who helped make this podcast possible. Of course, we have Chat Show himself, Mr. Kevin Pollak, our head writer, Jamie Foxx, Corey Levin, our producer, Jason McIntyre, our producer, Jordan in the booth. Couldn't have done it without you today. The overlords at Earwolf. And, Jimmy is not going to like my sign-off line, which he's never heard. So until next time, you may now fuck off. Did not care for it.